Hey, David here from socialexpression.net with today's video on social anxiety and low self-esteem. Why you should drop it. And what I mean by drop it is why you should drop the concept of self-esteem and the concept of self-worth, and I'll even probably take it as far as to say the concept of self-confidence or confidence, because they all come down to one basic thing, and that is self-acceptance. Now, this is a concept that helped me so greatly in overcoming the struggle, dissolving the struggle, as I like to say, with social anxiety, is that when you have something like self-esteem, self-esteem tends to have ideas of high or medium or low or extra low or really high. There's a scale, there's a gradation. Same with worth or value, right? Self-value. How do I value myself right now? Am I low? Am I high? Where am I at it? How am I in comparison to somebody else, or the normal human being, or whatever, somebody who's socially normal? The problem is then we get in this game of always trying to figure out where the hell we are on this spectrum of self-esteem. A lot of people in psychology use self-esteem, but there are a few, it seems like a few people who aren't so into it, and people that probably just don't care about it. And really, I don't care about it. If you use the word self-esteem and it works for you, great. But I found it to be not useful for me, and it puts you in a paradigm of trying to value yourself. But when you're in a paradigm of self-acceptance, you either self-accept or you don't. You self-accept or you don't. And now you're probably asking, well, if you don't self-accept, then isn't that bad? Well, no, not if you're coming from a place of self-acceptance. And you've got two options. You're self-accepting or you're not. And you might say, well, if I'm not self-accepting, that sucks and that's hard. Well, the thing is that you can snap into self-acceptance like that, and you will snap between self-acceptance and lack of self-acceptance, or not self-accepting, back and forth until you start to get the hang of it. All the time, I find that I'm certain points where I'm not self-accepting in my life. If there's something happening that I don't want to happen, right? Or some way I'm being I don't want to be. But then, because I've developed this skill, I can go, oh, I'm just in resistance to what I'm feeling. I'm just in resistance to my thoughts right now. I'm making up this thing and I'm resisting it. Okay, now I see that, and I can self-accept. I accept that. I accept that that was my thought but not me. I accept that was my emotion but not me. I accept that I said that nasty thing, but that isn't me intrinsically. That was a behavior that I did, and it wasn't a good behavior, but that doesn't, because I didn't behave well or I behaved poorly, doesn't have to do anything with my intrinsic value as a human being. And so when you learn to self-accept, you learn to separate you from your behaviors, your feelings, your thoughts, what you've said, what you've done. They're part of you, but they're not you. And once you start to see these, oh, these are parts of me, and yeah, I can change them and improve them if I want, but I don't have to, and they're not me. Okay, we think we're our behaviors, we think we're our thoughts, we think we're our mind, and that's where we get into trouble. We get caught in the soup, and we're like, I'm a terrible person, I did that to so-and-so, it makes me a bad person. No. So if you did something bad to somebody, how you need to frame it from terms of self-acceptance is this: I'm a person who behaved in a poor way and said a nasty thing to that person, instead of I'm a bad person because I said that nasty thing. No, you're a human being here that did this. See the separation there? And it's more than just the thought. It's a feeling that you start to incorporate as you learn to practice this. I did a lesson in my Dissolve Social Anxiety course, which I think is probably one of the most powerful lessons, and it has to do with the art of self-acceptance and also compassion, which is an important part. Right now I'm talking conceptually about self-acceptance and why I think it's a better model to use than self-esteem or self-worth, even confidence, because when you self-accept, then it's easier to take a look at your behaviors that you do want to change and say, okay, I want to change these things, but I'm okay as I am right now and I'm working on these things. And you can actually make the change toward those easier because you're not judging yourself as those behaviors. Okay, I hope that makes sense. It's not, it's easier said than done, but it's also easier done than said. Once you start to get the hang of it, then you're like, oh, okay, I get this self-acceptance thing. Once you practice it from that frame, that how you behave and how you think and how you feel doesn't have to do with your worth as a human being. And the messages out there are that you have to make the money and get the girlfriend or get the husband and get this and get that to be of worth, and it's just not fucking true, man. It's just not true. And once you can still have all those things, but then your self-acceptance and your personal happiness doesn't depend on them. So anyways, I hope I didn't get off track there. It was something else I wanted to say, but it went out the window with my tangential mind. So, when doing self-acceptance, it's, thinking of the frame. I hear so much when I coach people or when I see comments and stuff, people think that their realities are their thoughts, or that reality is their thoughts. They don't see that their thoughts are here filtering in their reality, and this is reality. And you can let those filters go, and you can put in the ones you want, or you can just see what happens. We kind of need to use filters. We need beliefs to navigate through the world. So it's about using the beliefs, embodying, living from beliefs, and the story that you want to create that's useful to you. I don't say that here's a good story and here's a bad story, okay? I say, here's the story you want to live and here's your social anxiety story. That's how I frame it. I don't say the social anxiety story is bad, because then we're not being non-judgmental, we're being judgmental. Most people that have a social anxiety story, like you that are watching this and want help, are seeking a different story, and they think that this story is reality, but it's just their story. But if we judge it as bad and I need to get rid of the story, then it makes it harder to shift your story. I hope that's making sense. When it's just a story that leads to social anxiety versus a story that leads to a life you want, probably of self-confidence and more social interaction and better relationships and being able to speak your mind more at work, dating people, relationships, etc., etc. Oh, I remember my point now. Self-confidence, once you learn how to do self-acceptance a lot more, you don't have to worry about how do I become self-confident or I'm confident. I used to try affirmations like I'm confident and I'm this and that. So much I did them, and I never believed it. But once I really got into self-acceptance, and of course applying social skills and stuff, then the confidence came out. There is a competence to social confidence of if you don't know what to do or say, but that's still by far 10% of it compared to 90% self-acceptance. And this is also, I'm saying this because there are probably some people here who just want to be able to interact without being really social. And I teach the whole thing. I go, if you want to dissolve your social anxiety, I definitely teach that. But if you also want to learn how to be more social and do social skills, I go into that as well, because that's what I wanted to do, not only overcome my struggle with social anxiety, but learn how to be more social and socially adept and stuff. But I realize that some people don't want the whole thing. They just want, to not feel that social anxiety and so much. So anyways, any questions, feedback, comments, leave them below. Subscribe to the channel. Get my free ebook if you don't have it on social anxiety recovery. And I hope to talk to you guys in some way, shape, or form soon. Take care. Bye.